Hello and welcome to what will be, hopefully, the final conclusion of the Mortal Kombat movie saga. We're going to talk about it one more time. I'm here with the amazing Cabalette again, and she's going to give us her thoughts on the movie. If you watch our other videos, you know my thoughts already. I go on lots of rants, but let's ask Cabalette in a nice structured manner. Basically, what did you think of the movie? And if you were to give it a score from 1 to 10, 1 being the most pathetic movie you've ever seen, 10 being one of the best movies you've ever seen, and I say 5 is average. That's my scale. 5 is like an average movie. So what would you
Mm,
give?
Well, that really depends on if I want to judge it as a gamer that I am or as just a viewer, if I was watching with not knowing the game at all. I guess, overall I'd give it a nice old 6.5, because
You
it's
copied
not
my score.
terrible. It's not, no, you copied my fucking score.
You gave it a
You just did.
6.3. Well, you said it was a 6.3 to me.
Yeah,
So
I did say 6.3 because I thought that 3 was half. That's half of an
she
hour.
thought the
And
scale
I
was
was
on a
counting
clock.
it
Yeah.
on a on the clock, yeah.
All right. So you give it a 6.5. That's what I gave it. And I said that I think honestly, it's a decent score. I did enjoy the movie. But just off the top of your head, what were some of maybe not somewhat, maybe what the problems with the movie were to give it a 6.5, or what were the good parts? What's the reasoning behind you just,
Okay. So some of the things I like about the movie is that if you're watching this movie as, point of view of somebody that doesn't know that much the game, I know a little bit of the game, but I tend to forget because like I played like the first Mortal Kombat and following ones until like maybe the 10th, and I tend to forget it all because I play plenty of different games. But yeah, if you're watching from a non-gamer perspective, it's in order where you can understand the story, you can understand what's going on, and that is nice because it's not everybody that is watching this kind of movies with only gamer friends. Sometimes you go with your family to the theater or whatever, so it's nice that you can actually understand what's going on. I really like, as a gamer though, the actors and actress they picked for the casting and everything. Like, for example, Cassie Cage. It's Cassie Cage, right?
that's Sonya Blade. That's
Yeah.
Sonya.
I
Cassie's
was
not in
playing.
this.
You know what? I can show you my
How
screen right
dare
now.
you?
I'm
Let's
playing
stop this
Cassie Cage
interview
on
right
Mortal
now.
Kombat 11.
You're confusing Cassie Cage and her mother.
Okay,
Come on.
no,
All right.
yeah.
Well,
For 2 seconds,
that's
I got
actually
confused because I'm playing Mortal Kombat
let
11.
me
But
let me stop you right there because my next thing, you kind of touch base on why you gave the score. You did. The characters of the movie. That's the main thing. That's like the heart and soul, I think, of a Mortal Kombat movie and game. And I want to ask you, what were your favorite characters in the movie? I have 2 favorite characters. I want to see if we match up.
I did like Kano. He was cool because it was like the fun part, the little bit of peps we need in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
My second one, that's hard to tell, to be honest. I haven't thought of it much right now.
Yeah,
You're
I agree 100%. I think Kano, we went over this the other night too on our other discussion. By the way, Cabalette has not seen that other discussion, so my full rants.
I like
She doesn't know anything about it.
Sub-Zero. I
Sub-Zero was
like him.
cool. I
Mm.
actually and I could go with that, but really I think Kano, like you said, is head and shoulders. He's the best character. And I also like Molina, even though they gave her like 2 sentences in the whole movie and they kind of kill her off. I thought Molina was really
Oh,
cool.
we're spoiling too?
Now, yeah, spoilers. It's okay for spoilers. We're gonna put that in the
Oh,
description.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I
So I'm
didn't know.
assuming
Okay.
this podcast is assuming you guys have seen the movie already. I should have said that
Well,
at the
that's a
beginning,
little late.
probably. Yeah.
I just
But
spoiled, but by the way,
those were my 2 favorite was Kano and Molina, and yours was Kano and Sub-Zero. What about Scorpion?
I like Scorpion. I like him, but I mean, the thing where I get really disappointed, and I love the actor that plays Scorpions a lot.
I thought the
I
actor that played
like him in
Scorpion's
the
cool.
movie. I think he plays very well. I really like this guy a lot. But the thing that kind of disappointed me with Scorpion, and that's not his fault, that's not the actor fault or whatever. It's just how the story takes place. Is that like at the final combat where it's Sub-Zero versus Scorpion? I want to see Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. I don't want to see little fucker Cole like joining
Oh,
in that.
did you somehow I went on like a 15-minute spiel, and maybe we shouldn't get into this now because I have a question about that later. That's one of my I mean, that's a scene of the movie, but they made Scorpion look so weak because he had to team up with Little Bitch Cole.
Yes, I agree
It should
with
have
that.
ended.
I agree with
See,
that.
this is why we get along so well. I never told her about that, ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
about
even about
how.
the rating, you didn't told me about it. You say, yeah, we match and
Yeah,
whatever.
it's
I
true.
told you first before you told you
It's
mine.
enough, man. We just agree on
Yours.
everything. It's enough to make you sick. I'll go. That actually will lead us into. We'll get to the final fight scene, which I think was good. But like you said, they're making Scorpion look very weak, trying to having to
Mm.
team up with Cole in order to kill Sub Zero. It should have been Scorpion versus Subby. That's what should have
Yeah,
been the
yeah,
final
that
battle.
that should have been it. Like, yeah.
But since we went over our favorite characters, mine was Kano and Molina. Yours was Kano and Sub Zero. I can see that. The thing about Scorpion and Sub Zero, though, they weren't really in it that much. They were really cool for what they did, definitely. But it's like they were
Well,
in it for like a
Sub-Zero
total of
was.
10.
Oh,
Kind
actually,
of.
I love Cabal. We don't see much, but I really like Cabal. But I mean, I just like the character in general. So.
Yes, Cabal was cool. Cabal was cool. And I have my complaints about that too, but
And no, my
I'm going to keep
username
moving.
doesn't come from Cabal from Mortal Kombat, just in
That's right.
case.
That is correct. So we'll go the least favorite characters now. So I have my two favorite characters and I got my two least favorites. And I would like to ask you, what are your two least favorite characters in the Mortal Kombat movie?
That is rough. I got my little idea on the first one. Okay, I don't like. Okay, I like the character Raiden in Mortal Kombat, but I mean in the movie here, it seems like he's not taking like plenty of like decision correctly, which is kind of unfortunate because you really see Raiden as like this big, very powerful person, and finally it turns out that he's not taking the good decision at the good place. But at the same time, it's maybe the overall feeling of the movie that maybe some deaths and some choices were a little bit rushed. That's why I give it a 6.5. Okay, maybe I'm going too
I
far on my
swear to
speech.
God, we did not collude because I go over that too. Raiden is one of my least favorite characters, not only for exactly what you just said, because I will go off what you just said. He was saying about how he can't break the rules, and I go on a 15-minute spiel about it. Shang Tsung is breaking all the rules, and Raiden, I think, not only acts very weak and very pathetic, I think the actor that played him was not old enough. No offense to the actor, he delivered his lines okay.
No, I
I
like
thought
the
he
actor. I loved the
I
actor.
think he just looked kind of cheesy. I don't know.
Mhm.
I didn't like it. Of course, not as cheesy as the original Mortal Kombat, but I did not like Raiden. I did not like the way he was portrayed. I thought he was very weak. And then,
Yeah,
do you
I
have
can
an?
understand that they're trying to match this very wise image Raiden is kind of giving sometimes in the game, but like here it's like really cheesy. It's not wise. It's like
I agree.
cheesy.
I
Mhm.
agree. But and I discussed this in the other podcast because they go on for hours and hours. I do understand they got to concede some things because it's a movie and they can't really go into the backstory of every
Yeah.
single character. So that's
Mhm.
probably why Raiden was weak. Hopefully, in part two, maybe they'll correct that. But is there another
Another
character that you
character,
hate that's you
then
think is weak?
Sonia, like not that she's weak, but I feel like sometimes, she's like putting her mouth at some place where she shouldn't like say anything. She kind of
Oh,
like this mouth
I
of
was about to say pooting your mouth. What the fuck does that mean?
No, like, oh my God, now, okay, my English expressions are maybe not the best, but like, sometimes she speaks up, and even at some point she's being shut down, and so she's matching actually the character they are trying to give her, which is good.
Yeah,
At some point she got shut down where like she said something, and the dude was like, sorry, but you're not even part of the thingy. You don't have your mark yet, so shut up.
I remember during the movie you mentioned that like she didn't have the mark, but I kind of disagree. Again, I think they didn't really give her a lot of time, but she needed to be in the movie because the actress that played her too, I think she did a good job of portraying
No,
Sonya
I
from the
think she
video
was
game.
really good actually, and I really like the fact that they picked her to play this character because I think she's amazing as this character. It's more like it's about the replica at some points, but again, it's really not my like
Right.
how to.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not that I hate her, like it's my
Yeah.
least favorite, but
Well,
that
I
doesn't mean I
think
don't like her.
that's a lot of the characters in the movie. It's like Sonya, they did Sonya right in the movie, and they also needed this character Sonya in the movie because she gives so much exposition. She's like kind of almost like the rock of the movie, so she explains what Mortal
Mm.
Kombat is, and she's been doing studies on it. So I like
Actually,
Sonya in the
no,
movie.
there is somebody I don't like more than Sonia. It's
Yeah,
Cole.
thank you. That's what I was waiting for. You were hating on Sonya for some
Actually,
reason.
no, 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 no. Because yeah, I remember now when I was watching the movie, I was complaining a lot about Cole and his evolution through the movie and everything. I don't know. It just looked like a kind of a. I don't know.
I agree
It's
100%
not the expectation you have of the descendant of like
of Scorpion,
Scorpion.
right?
Yeah. Like I understand that like it's happening on like a very future world, like a world like we are living in, but I mean here is a total like stupido.
I agree
Oh
100%, and I go, like, for an hour straight. Pretty much the other podcast that we did was me just hating on Cole. Again,
really?
I don't know who the actor is. I'm not saying he did a bad job, but he's so generic.
He gets some good
Um,
points, you know, like
he's such a generic character. He's plain to me. Like, as far as a Mortal Kombat goes, he's so plain. You're gonna compare him to all the other characters in Mortal Kombat. He is a plain honestly, he's kind
yeah,
of a
I
pussy
wish they
too.
would have give him an identity more of, you know, a little bit more special, something more you know, more
Well, that's
unique than
that's
what
also
is
my complaint.
representing, let's
His
straight.
Akra ability is like his armor, which I said looked like a bad Halloween costume. I did not like anything about this dude. I didn't like his family in it. I thought it was unnecessary. I thought maybe Scorpion should have been the main character, or they should have had
The
Johnny
cheesy
Cage.
part or the little girl, like his daughter, say uppercut when he's
Yes,
fighting against
that's actually a good point. We didn't mention that in the
oh,
other podcast. Let's not go over all the cheesy, ridiculous parts because then it will take 2 hours like the other podcast did.
yeah,
Let's
but
try
you
to
know,
stick
it's
it.
like the kind of cheesy things that happens in any movie anyway that I really
Right.
dislike, but I might be a little
We're
rough on
very
it.
critical on that. Yes, we're very
Yeah.
critical. But Cole, I think the single worst thing about the movie was the main character, Cole. And like I said in the other video, I know he's there as a device to meet the other characters. He is the main character, but he's there
Mhm.
as a device to like get through. I did not like that character at all. So let's talk about we talked about our favorite characters and our least favorite. Let's talk about what you liked, the best parts of the movie. And I have like 3 parts where I thought were actually I was like, wow, that was really cool. And I was wanting to ask you if you could pick a few parts, specific parts of the movie. Not so much, what we're
Three,
talking about, but
it's a lot right now because I've seen
you
the
don't have to do
movies
3.
like
No, you don't have to do 3. You do what do you remember from the movie? And what do you remember? What were parts that were memorable to you? The
there's a
best
part
parts.
that I kind of liked, and because I disliked it, I liked it, but at the same time, like I felt like again it was a little rushed. It's how when I'm really not prepared for this.
If you say there's no parts then. The whole
When
movie
the
sucked.
other guy got his soul sucked up, you know, fucking
Oh, that's
Kuno.
you like that part?
Yeah.
I got that coming. I'm gonna mention that later. You like that part? So
I
that's the
mean,
only
you know,
part that you could remember.
that was rushed, like that's kind of rushed, but I mean, you know, he kept like kicking the ass of everybody that they're sending to him, and so finally is like getting like the worst thing. I mean, maybe not the worst, but whatever.
Well, maybe that's the
I'm
thing that
struggling here. I'm
That's
struggling.
the thing that, like, stuck with you. That's fine. I have that for later, just a little bit later. Um, I'll mention a few things to you. I thought the beginning scene was actually really good with the Sub-Zero Scorpion fight in the beginning of the
I thought
movie.
that was good, but I thought I would shock kids by saying that I like this part.
Why? Because Scorpion. Why would that? Oh, because his family gets killed and stuff.
Yeah.
It's Mortal Kombat, baby. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. It brings emotion. Don't hold back. I thought the first scene was very good,
Mhm.
and I
I
so
agree with that. It was good.
and I thought Sub-Zero and Scorpion they were actually really cool, even out of their costumes.
Actually, they were looking better with their costume. They were very
Yeah,
badass
well,
with it.
yeah, but I like that they showed them without their costumes a lot.
Yeah.
My second favorite part is a very specific part. It's the Kung Lao fatality that he gets on that flying bitch where he saws her in half with his hats. I forget what that fatality is called, but that's ripped straight from the game. I don't know if you're watching for that part. It happens in like literally a second. I don't
Sorry,
know
can
how
you
you don't
repeat
remember.
all that? I got like disconnected for a minute because I was thinking that I'm spoiling my big brother that just came back from work. And I feel terribly bad about it.
At one point, Kung Lao does a fatality on, I believe her name is Nitira,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he spins his hat on the floor. It's straight from the game. It's straight from Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
it's a
9,
very
actually.
good part. And actually, I liked it too. It's just that, again, you know, we see her flying for 2 seconds, literally.
I go
And
on a
that
whole spiel.
happens. I wish there was a little tiny bit of a battle, but I understand that, you know, they're trying to make this movie as being a movie,
Oh,
not
believe
only
me.
for
If
gamers.
you want to
And
listen to the other podcast, I go off on Nitira's character, Reptile's character that was done
I
completely
was
dirty,
expecting
and
so much more from
and
Nightira.
and
So much
general.
more.
Actually, I was thinking, well, okay, see, that's the other podcast. Let's try to keep it specific
Hmm.
and on point here. And then my last favorite part, it wasn't so much the ending fight because we were complaining about the end fight, and I don't have the end fight as my favorite part. I was complaining about the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion because Cole joined Scorpion, and that makes Scorpion look so weak to me. It should have been a straight up subby Scorpion fight. And also, there's a lot of stupid shit.
I agree. And if they needed something, to make the balance, 10 one way more than the other to try not to show that Sub-Zero or Scorpion is the best one, to kind of rig the thing. Maybe they could have used a natural event or something, like something coming out of blocks or whatever. Not
It
Cole.
it could have just
Don't
been a brutal fight,
Cole.
and Scorpion gets the upper hand, and they're both hurt, and Scorpion wins at the end.
Yeah.
That's really what it should have
Yeah.
been. But it wasn't the end fight that I really liked. But if you remember, right before the end fight is about to happen, Cole's getting his ass kicked a little bit by Sub-Zero. And
Hmm.
I know there's no reason or explanation in the movie as to why Scorpion appears behind Sub-Zero. And Scorpion hooks Sub-Zero, and he does his get over here thing.
That
That
is a
I thought was cool.
very exciting
And I
part.
thought even they could have drawn that out maybe a little bit more because the music comes on and you're like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And then it
Hmm.
does go down for a little bit, but then Cole joins in and fucking ruins it. So,
Yeah. I
damn,
really agree on that for sure.
missed opportunity there, I think. That could have
Big
been really awesome. I
time.
mean, it was
Big
awesome. It could have
time.
been really, really awesome. So let me try to wrap up here. 16 minutes in, we're doing pretty well. I'm going to ask you some controversial moments, what you think about them. Maybe what I was kind of pissed off at, and kind of what I saw on Twitter, but I kind of stayed away from all the reviews and what people are saying because I want to form my
Mhm.
own opinion, and I know I get a little
I
bit
haven't read
manipulated.
any reviews
I
so far,
that's
so
Yeah,
I'm clean
and
on this.
that's the best way to do it because I'll get swayed one way or another, kind of, because I could
Yep.
see some people's points, like, yeah, you're right,
Mhm.
Um, some moments that I thought were maybe could have been perceived as like disrespectful toward the video game fans. One of them being Kung Lao. That's actually your favorite part. Kung Lao gets killed in the movie. Do you not care about Kung Lao?
It's not. I don't think it was disrespected because he was killed by one of the most powerful characters. How is that being disrespected?
Well,
Like,
I think it's a little bit disrespectful, and I went off about this. Liu Kang and Kung Lao are like equals, bro. And I feel
okay.
like they kind of always build Liu Kang up to be like one of the main characters and super powerful. And Kung Lao, again, you can't build everybody's backstory with a 2-hour runtime, but he just
Hmm.
gets his soul sucked. He could have easily been saved too, but it's like I did not care for that. I thought Kung Lao was a main character. He
Yeah,
should
he
stick
could
around.
have been saved, but I think, the event is not something disrespectful towards Kong Lao because again, I think he got killed by like a very fucking badass character. I mean,
Well,
it's like to me if you say, well, Molina is getting killed by Raiden. Like Raiden is extremely fucking powerful, so that's something I can see happening.
that's true. Okay, so
Um, but the thing where he got disrespected, where I can see the thing is that the death was like rushed, like instead of making some elements that makes it happen to this point, like it just like fucking grab him, suck his soul off you know
exactly, and I think
yeah.
we discussed that too on the other podcast. The whole movie, and I keep saying, you can't give every character the appropriate amount of time because there's so many characters.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a big problem with it either. But I know people were maybe upset. Also, just a sidebar, this is not my controversial moments, but they kill off Kano. I don't even know if you remember how Kano dies. He gets killed
Yeah,
by
I do.
Sonya
By Sonya, like
by
in
a
a
freaking gnome. They
very.
couldn't think of a better fatality, and I think that's one thing too. They should have more fatalities in the movie. Sonya
No,
kills him in
I
a
kind
quick
of
fight.
understand because that's a gnome he speeded on before, so that was like the wink. Oh, look, he speeded on the gnome, and now it's the same gnome
I
like
think that's
crushing his
stupid.
face.
I thought that was stupid.
I felt that was stupid, and I felt that was kind of easy. Like a lot of people are gonna say, no, it wasn't easy. Does it look easy? Would you do that, you stupid bitch? You guys are gonna tell me, no, I can't fight like that. That's for sure.
Well,
But
I know they got to keep the runtime down, but I feel like a Sonya Kano fight should be one of honestly the highlights of the movie, one of the main
mhm,
points
mhm.
besides a Sub-Zero versus Scorpion fight.
Yeah,
And I feel like boom, she teleported there, boom, she whooped his ass pretty quick. I don't even remember any really standout points of that fight except the guarded gnome thing, if you could call that a standout point. I thought it was very weak. Missed opportunity again.
yeah. I mean, there was not enough. Like, I feel like Kano got beat up real bad, and that Sonya was just like, that I'm beating up his ass.
Well, yeah, Sonya
Like
should have won.
it's
Yeah,
like she didn't get that much damage. But like here at this part of the movie, there's a section of like different fights happening, and it seems like everybody's like, I'm beating up the
yeah,
ass of the bad guy,
especially,
and that's only the good guy winnings. Like no good guy dies during this part. It's just
I feel
good
like
guy win, good guy
Jax.
win. The plan is going perfectly. And you're like, okay, I'm waiting for the thing to happen right now. There needs to be something, but nothing happens. No, everything goes as planned.
Exactly. With all those fights, I feel like Jax really gets disrespected too. He kills that one dude, which is barely a Mortal Kombat character, kills him like that. Goro gets killed pretty fucking quick too. Just that part. I think we can complain about the story all we want, but really, I think we go to the movies to see the characters fighting in a vicious fight. And I feel like all that was very rushed, and people, like you said, the good guys just won right away. And I thought that was kind of
I mean,
cheesy and
except for
stupid.
Cole. Cole got a little trouble, but I mean, Cole is the
And we actually had this discussion too.
noobish.
Look at any fight Cole is in the movie, he gets his ass kicked every time. The only way he could win is when someone interferes. And seriously, look at every fight in
Yeah,
the
no,
movie,
that
Cole
is
gets fucked
true.
up.
That is very
He's getting
true.
fucked up by Goro. His wife
And
saves him.
that's
He
why
gets fucked
maybe
up in the
we get
beginning.
such this weak image of Cole, and why we're a little bit
I don't thi-
disappointed about how he's like the grandson of like of a Scorpion, you know, because we don't expect that from
I
Queen.
agree. I feel like we talk so I talk so much shit about Cole, and I feel bad, if the actor that plays Cole, I don't know him.
No,
If
the
he ever if
actor
he ever
is great.
found
He's
it, if he somehow yeah,
handsome
if he
and
ever
stuff.
found
Yeah.
this YouTube channel, we're not talking about the actor. The actor delivered his lines. I thought, he read the script
Yeah,
and
yeah, I think he
it
did a
was.
good
I
job.
don't think
It's
his
just the
acting was
movie.
atrocious or anything, but just he was a generic character. But I will say, yeah, he was a good looking guy. I think that's why they picked him. He's a good looking guy, and they needed a plot
Yeah, but
device.
that's not the fault of the actor that they didn't like give to the
Absolutely,
character he's
it's not.
playing
Yeah,
enough like all the personality and identity he was deserving, because he could have more, more of a something that's missing here.
I agree. I agree. And then, well, the controversial moments. I also just wrote down Cole because I think he's controversial. He's not in the game, and there's no Johnny Cage. I was kind of pissed off at that, but I understand they're setting up for part two, and maybe that's the whole
Hmm.
thing with Kung Lao as well and Shang Tsung. Like they had no payback for Shang Tsung. He's still alive, so I really think they're setting up for part two. Um, but were you offended that Johnny Cage really wasn't in the movie? But I was offended.
Not that much for me, as long as there was Zero and Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yeah, I did like the ending that they're building
You
up
know,
for Johnny Cage.
yeah. Plus, we know that there's gonna be probably a second part where there will be Johnny Cage, so that's why I'm not too offended about it.
I think they probably had this idea, but I really think if they made Cole Johnny Cage and take out like the family stuff, it could be the same story arc almost. Maybe they could adapt to where he's not a descendant of Scorpion, whatever. But he starts off as like an arrogant
Then I
prick.
just want a Johnny Cage movie.
Seriously.
Just Johnny
But
Cage.
and I
Oh,
yeah,
sorry, I punched my
that's
mic.
they really should have just a Johnny Cage movie. And I feel like they really use Cabal as kind of like the Johnny Cage stand-in because he was like the comic relief. But that's neither here nor there. I did like the ending and the
You mean
cliffhanger where
Kano,
yeah, Kano. I'm sorry, did I say
not
Cabal?
Cabal? Yeah.
Yeah, Kano is what I meant. Other than that, could you think of any like controversial moments for you that you were offended? I think one thing that we both mentioned was the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. Cole joining in really,
Mhm.
I thought disrespected Scorpion.
Well, as you said, like some people were like offended by Milina's look. I wasn't.
That's another one.
The thing is that when you first saw her, you're here. Where is it? Where is it? Show
Well,
me.
actually,
And you're like, oh shit, like something's missing. And then when she's finally showing it, I feel like we don't have time to enough see her teeth and her badass look. That's what like disappointed me from Milena. I like the actress. I like the way she plays. It's just that they don't like she's badass, but like we don't see anything happening from her until she gets, beats up, and that's it.
I think she could have used.
And
I
that's
think all.
unfortunate.
I think all the bad characters and Goro too. All and Reptile. All the bad characters could have used more time because they were actually pretty cool and they could have used a lot more time.
Yeah.
But the real controversy with Molina now is, of course, if you look on social media, is apparently Molina's supposed to be Asian in the game, and the actor that played Molina in the movie is not Asian. That's what I read. I know.
Who
What do you think
gives
about
a
that?
fuck? Oh dear God, like
Well,
seriously.
also, well, so you were not disrespected by that. I think that's just
I
the.
think the way she was dressed up, the way she was playing, her attitude were good. So now I don't give two shits. Like
That well,
seriously.
that's gonna be a pro. I didn't even realize. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
big
know.
on
Like
the.
people are gonna say, "Gabalette, what?" I don't
No, well, I
care.
didn't even realize that Molina was. Well, first of all, Molina's a clone of like Baraka and fucking Katana, or not
Mm-hmm.
Baraka, but Tarakan and Katana's
Mm-hmm.
DNA make
Mm-hmm.
fucking Molina. But I guess Katana's Asian. But everyone's gonna be in an uproar about the race thing is so fucking controversial nowadays, so I think people just jumped on that right away to mention
I
that
mean, there is so
technically Molina would be
many
Asian.
changes now in the movies about so many things, about like some very famous characters, like you heard, I don't know, like where it's like a male character on the first movies, now they want to switch for female and whatever. Just roll with it. Like, I'm not gonna fight it.
Well, I think the good thing
And
about
there are some
Mortal
things that are shocking me on other movies, and I can talk about it on other podcasts, perhaps, but here that really didn't shock me
I think
at
the
all.
good thing about Mortal Kombat games, and that's actually an okay thing, I think. I know people take
Mhm.
it overboard, but if you look at the original Mortal Kombat movie, actually there's a pretty good diverse cast in that too. But like they made Raiden like an American dude. I know Liu Kang was an Asian actor. But with this movie and with the Mortal Kombat games, you don't have to change anybody's race because it's so diverse already, I feel.
Yeah.
Um, so just, play it as is. Someone
I
like
mean,
Molina Lowe, though I never even realized she was Asian in the first place, to be
to be
honest.
that honest with you, if Reptile was a cat, yes, that would have
Well, that would
shocked me.
piss me off,
Here,
yeah,
no.
yeah. I mean, you can't change it too much, but yeah, I never really even thought about I don't think about race ever. I know everybody else does with the movie. I just don't see color or anything like that, so I wouldn't know. But I
You
read,
know, you know.
yeah, I did
No,
read that
it's just
online, is
that
that people are pissed off.
it's not something I really picked on. Like
I don't think
it
people were pissed off about it. I think 2 people on Twitter were pissed off about it, and then it blows up into something. You know what I mean? It's
mm,
like,
mm,
I didn't even know what it's just people are so they wanna
yeah.
fight about anything. Trust me, there's a lot more to complain about this movie than
Yeah, yeah,
Molina's
I
actor's
totally agree.
race.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, there's so many things, but you're gonna like focus on that. Whatever.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I thought
we don't have the same.
I actually looked that actress up. I forget her name, but I think this is one of her very first movies. I thought, the 2
I
lines
thought
that
it
I
was.
thought she was cool, and actually the thing you said about the mouth, I thought that was cool because if she was walking around, well, one, she could have been walking around with like her whatever she
A
wears in the game.
mask.
Yeah.
No, you know what would have been perfect? If she was walking around with a mask and that
And then she took
finally, yeah,
yes,
oh
that
yeah.
would have been cool because that's kind of how the game works too. Like you see her with the mask on, and then for the fatality, she takes the mask off, and it's like, oh shit, she's got those
Mhm.
crazy teeth. So I
Yeah, we see
think,
that in plenty of Mortal Kombat games, yeah.
with that being said, though, that might have been a creative decision. So the actress, she maybe
Yeah, it
didn't
can
want to,
be seen a little
yeah.
more and stuff.
So I
Yeah, I
could see
can
that
see
because
that
if
too.
I was playing that role, I would say, can we do this without the mask? Because no one's gonna recognize me, and this is a cool movie,
Mm,
and I want to be recognized that I'm in Mortal Kombat. So
mhm,
when she did have the teeth, though, that was pretty cool because it was like
mhm.
they grew, and
I
that
wish
was sweet.
they were more big though.
Yeah,
Personally.
yeah, yeah. I wish
But
they were more.
bigger is not always like better.
This
So
is true. This is
that
true.
does sound, yeah, but whatever.
Then the last controversial moment I have, it's really not moments, just so many inconsistencies in the movie. I'm not gonna name them all because I do that in the other podcast. It's gonna take too long. But I think it's
Mhm.
one of those movies you just got to forget about it. Don't think about it too much, and you'll have a fun time.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you looking at yourself in the camera right now and you got distracted by your beauty? I
No,
saw it
I'm not
happen.
looking at myself in the camera. I was just thinking, what do I look like? Because I know my hair are like popping right now.
Okay.
That's
Could you
why I
think of
was.
any that I think that's going to wrap it up for the controversial moments, and this is going to be it here. Could you think of any other moment as a gamer or that offended you as a gamer? I think we went over them. I think pretty good. They fucked up Reptile as well, but let's end it there because we can go on for fucking days. They really
Yeah, that's
fucked
the thing.
Reptile.
I know
Yeah,
you went on like plenty of things in your video, so I don't want to go too long.
I
But
try to keep it more
again, like,
concise.
yeah, I was overall like happy, especially with like the actors casting and who they got into this movie and whatever. I was disappointed about like how rushed were their personal stories in the movies and maybe some personalities, but again, so many things, and I'm not gonna keep it too long.
I think they did a good job of it's a fun movie. They did attempt to respect the source material, which is the most important thing. I don't think
Mhm.
they deliberately disrespected it. So the little stuff that we're nitpicking, there are other video game movies that completely
Oh yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
poop all over the
Yeah,
fans.
exactly. It's maybe because I have in mind like some other movies about around video games that are so terrible that here I thought that
Right.
was decent, not too good either, not something like that's gonna blow up your mind, but
I think they really
decent.
they found a good balance between a casual moviegoer and a game fan, and they kind of met right in the middle, which is really what you have to do for a movie.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, exactly.
it's a fun
Exactly.
movie. It's a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
For
6.5 from
sure.
both of us, and I think that's a good score. Cabalette, thank you for having this discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can't wait for Mortal Kombat 2, and you can check Cabalette out on Twitter and Twitch and all that shit. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching the podcast today, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you guys.
Bye.